Я представлюсь, наверное, на русском языке, а потом переключусь на английский. Когда переезжаешь в Америку 12 лет, это тебя награждает прекрасным акцентом, да? И также делает тебя bicultural, bilingual. И не знаю, как вам, мне удобнее говорить на двух языках. Я постараюсь сильно не переключаться туда-сюда, и будет презентация на английском в основном. Меня зовут Антонова Женя, я жена, мать 5 детей. I'm a high school teacher, have a master's degree in TESOL, and I teach English language development and social studies at a local high school here in Gresham, very close to here. I have been working with teenagers for 24 years, teaching for 18. And I'm still really learning about this age group. I'm not an expert. Every year, every time I think I know something, right, something new comes up and I'm looking for answers. The topic for today's workshop is, who is raising our children? Who is raising our children? I'm going to ask you to reflect on this question yourself. I'll introduce my family really quick. My husband Peter, we have been married for 22 years. Probably one of the kindest and hardworking people I know. My daughter Abigail is 20. She's at George Fox University, finishing up her bachelor's degree there. I have a son Nick, who is 17. He is a senior at his high school, a captain of his soccer team. He's involved in student government in his school. Takes a whole bunch of advanced classes, but have not decided whether he wants to go to college or not. We have our middle child, son Tim, who fits your book definition of a middle child, if you ever read books on the birth order. He's creative, he's very active, he's very talkative. Он сейчас экспериментирует со своими прическами, у него такая сейчас время, и мы ему это разрешаем. He is a young businessman. He's been buying and selling and doing other things for about 3 years now. So we'll see where he ends up. We have an 11-year-old son Philip. Very kind, loves kids. I tell him sometimes that I think you'll be a stay-at-home dad. I don't know, like you love kids so much, like I can't see you in any other role. And our baby Leo, who we both spoil and neglect as a 5th child, who is very independent, and of course our pride and joy. But the topic for today is not my family, but it is about raising our children. And let me quickly make this active. If you guys can answer this question, just like the first 5 people, things, whatever, like who do you think is raising our children? If you can answer that question, just make a quick list. All right, here we go. Pull that back up. You guys want to submit your answer? This is your previous one. You have very different answers than the other group. The other group had parents in the middle, like really big letters, parents. And you're coming up with a whole bunch of things, people, sort of previewing my presentation today. Church, family, grandparents, internet, YouTube, media, I'm guessing social media. Yep, social media, very big letters. I came up with a TikTok. Может, кто-то уже здесь был? Еще раз на повтор. I came up with a very similar list as you. I think you guys touched on almost everything. Someone asked for this, and I wanted to hold on to this until anybody wants a presentation. If someone wants it, you can pass it around. Grandparents, caregivers, nannies, teachers, choir directors, church members, right? A big village of people. If you notice, if you read through all of these names, what do they have in common? except maybe for one group. What do they have in common? Any guesses? What do they have?
All adults.
All adults. You were here. They're all adults, right? Except for friends. So adults, youth, right? Not children. Not a lot of peers, but a lot of adults, which is a good thing for the kids, right? However, as you mentioned in your cloud, there is something else that's sadly also spending a lot of time and money raising our kids. This is a quote from a liberal newspaper, New York Times, September 2022, taken from a book, probably by a liberal writer, who is raising our kids. Our kids is the title of the book. And the title of the New York Times, the headline was, "Big Tech is Co-parenting Our Children. Yes, be afraid." Right? Can someone please read this to us, nice and loud?
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Snapchat pose as and caregivers cultivate affection and attachment in children. Use psychological insight to prey on their weakness, patiently fatten them up, that is, train them in consumption of all while viewing children as profit centers. The children and democratic cost, Lynn argues, is immeasurable. Given hours a day in which to raise the children, those companies replace play with screen time and parental bonds with connections to devices. In the process, they deprive the children of awe, compassion, security, self-confidence, and a sense of meaning.
So I probably read this quote now 10 times, right, preparing this presentation, and every time like someone reads it, I read it again, it gives me goosebumps. It's really alarming, right, that this is what the world is talking about. They're talking about, they're raising this alarm that, yes, we have all these adults raising our kids, but a whole lot of our time is spent them being raised by something else. In fact, the same author goes on to say that the average American 8 to 12-year-old child spends over 5 hours a day online, almost all of it just passively watching and not interacting, as these apps, these social media outlets say. 5 hours is a lot of hours, yes. Waking hours approximately is 15, right? And if an average 5 hours of that is spent, our kids are spending being raised by TikTok and YouTube. Yes, we need to be afraid, and as churches, we need to raise this alarm, and as parents, we need to figure this out, right? 10 hours is left. That's for school, right? To eat, to play, to maybe go to a choir practice, and that's not a whole lot of time left for parents to interact with their kids. Who are they being raised by, right? Especially if they're teens. Influencers are a huge industry right now, as you guys all know. A definition for that offline is someone who affects or changes the way that people behave. I found this cartoon online. I thought it was a little sad and a little funny at the same time, right? How do we work with fake influencers, with fake followers, and fake engagement in a more authentic way, right? This is their number one priority, is to make our kids believe that their interactions online are authentic, and that the people there that influencing them are real, and they should listen to them. And what's alarming is that the definition of it, right? They changes the way that people behave, right? They change the way our kids behave and our kids think. So, question for you. Christian kids coming from Christian families, are they immune from this? What do you think? No. TikTok, Instagram influencers, they're not. You might have mixed feelings about The Simpsons, and that's okay. I'm not a big fan, But this, I couldn't find anything that would represent my classroom, right, at the beginning of the bell. So that is me, this is my class, and я иногда думаю, ну если, может, я на голову встану сейчас, может быть, они меня заметят, они меня услышат, они меня как бы отключатся от своих телефонов. Очень сложно им их положить.
They'll probably film you and post you online.
Yes, I'm sure it happened before. Make money off of their teacher. No. Yeah, so they're not a mute. I have been teaching, like I said, for 18 years, and I've taught kids from various cultural backgrounds, right? ELD, English as a second language. They come to us from all over the world. They come to us from broken families, from really good families, from Christian families, from secular families, and they're not. Christian kids are not. They are just like their peers on their phones, playing games, TikTok, watching so many things. Sometimes у меня такое впечатление сложилось, что родители их знают как людей, вот лучше, чем я, да, они же их вырастили все-таки. Но иногда я думаю, что я знаю о них вот кое-что, что родители не знают, да, вот только вот так наблюдая, вот что они делают на своих телефонах и как их пользуют и что они говорят в классе, то, конечно, как родитель, я думаю, интересно, а кто вот моих детей может знать больше, чем я, и что они именно знают, что я не знаю. So this is a problem that doesn't discriminate, right? It doesn't discriminate your age, it doesn't discriminate where you come from, how rich or poor you are. I don't know if you guys have seen this website. I was really touched by this photographer. He pretty much just took pictures of everyday life of people, and he removed something from all of these photos. As you can see, it's gonna stop eventually. So what did he remove? I don't know if you can tell from phone. Yeah, he removed from the phone. He removed the phone. I think he has people in like churches, and what's sad is like looking through these pictures, I recognize myself, right? So the message here was like to show how removed people are from what's happening around them, right? How removed they are from the real world, how much they lack interaction with real people. And this is the society we live in now. This is a reality. And the big question that I don't have an answer to is, what are we to do about this, right? What are we to do about this? Can churches do something? What are parents to do about this? The answer is probably different depending on what season in life you are, what age you are, your relationship with the technology, your family's relationship with the technology. It's a humongous question. If you have an answer, please tell me. We don't probably have the power. We don't have the power to take electronic devices from people or teens. And if we did, right, we would have to surrender our own phones, so we are not to be hypocrites. And probably none of us would want to do that. So it comes down to time. It comes down to joining a team of army, right? You guys know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Alex mentioned the same thing last night. It seems like right now we need an army to raise our kids. Like, we need a lot of people. We need to replace the time they are spending interacting with fake people and in a fake way, and join this war that is right now over their time, over their hearts, right, and over their minds. It seems like it's an unrelated question, but it's not. What is the new currency right now? You guys think? Guesses? Huh? Погромче. Time. It is time. Time is the new currency, right? You can have a lot of money, you can have a lot of things, but if you don't have time for yourself, for your family, right? If you don't have time to do good things, time to volunteer, like really, how prosperous are you? Like, how rich are you? How wealthy are you? And can someone please read this to us as well?
Time is the new currency, and how we spend it determines our true wealth. While money is essential, it's the moments we choose to invest in that truly define our prosperity.
Yeah, it's the moments that we choose to invest in, right? There is a battle for our kids' time. So can we do something? Like, can we do something if we cannot fix this big problem? Can we replace some of the time our kids being raised by big tech with some intentional and meaningful interactions with caring adults or mentors? Can we do that? Yes, we can. So the rest of this presentation will focus on mentorship and on the the role of adults in church. According to Oxford Dictionary, this is the definition of a mentor. One more volunteer, please, to read this for us.
A mentor is an experienced person who advises and helps somebody with less experience over a period of time.
Yes, so the words that jump out at me are advises, helps, an experienced person, right? And also over a period of time. The word time is going to come up a lot in this presentation. And as a verb, to mentor means
advise or train someone, especially a younger person.
Advise or train someone, especially a younger person. Bible says quite a bit about mentorship. I have 4 verses for you to read. If you guys could please read them.
Be shepherds of God's flock that is under your care, watching over them, not because you must, but because you are willing, as God wants you to be, not pursuing dishonest gain, but eager to serve, not lording it over those entrusted to you, but being examples of the flock.
Right, so not lording, you're not the boss of them, you're the example of them. You're not pursuing dishonest gain. Like, what is your intention? Why are you doing this work? Why are you here? What exactly do you want to accomplish by this mentorship? Right, but eager to serve. And obviously we have a whole group of people here today eager to serve. And one more, please.
And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching.
Yeah, so some words that kind of jump out, love, good deeds, right? Encouraging one another. There's just 2 more. Somebody else, please. Or you, sorry.
Plans fail for the lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed.
Yeah, so I know you probably know these people. I know these people. I'm one myself, right? How many plans have you seen being failed because that person didn't have a mentor, right? Whether in business and life, plans fail for lack of counsel, right? Our kids fail, right? We fail kids because they are not getting enough counsel. But with many advisors, they succeed. And then one last one.
Even when I am old and gray, do not forsake me, my God, till I declare your power to the next generation, your mighty acts to all who are to come.
I think this one's very dramatic. It's like, I can imagine, somebody's just kind of coming out. Even when I'm old and gray, do not forsake me, my God, till I declare your power to the next generation, your mighty acts to all who are to come. And of course, we have Jesus, the model mentor, right, mentoring his disciples for 3 years. Even after he dies, he comes back and continues to mentor them, spends 40 more days with his apostles. So this one has a lot of words, but this one focuses on mentorship in church. Like, what does it look like in our churches? Churches need to pay attention to the kids a little more, I think. They need to prioritize children of various ages, right? They make up such a large part of our audience, and yet a lot of times it seems like they come to church and everything that's being spoken, that's being presented to them kind of goes over their head, right? We need to know our audience, and if we know that we have kids in church, we need to keep that in mind as we are teaching them. Caring adults in church need to be, or adults in church, right? All adults in church, they need to be intentional about interacting with their kids, teens, right? They need to assume good intentions. This one is a big one for me. I think it's a big one for our Slavic community. We like to judge people on the way they look. A lot of teenagers and in youth, it's like, it seems like they almost like have a target, like if they don't fit a certain picture of a Christian boy or Christian girl, then people are suspicious. I have a personal example for this one. When I just started teaching in 2005, Gresham had a lot of gangs in this area. A lot of my kids were in gangs or they were gang bound. Luba might remember that time. Luba worked in our district. It was a rough time for us. I had this boy come into my class. He comes in, has a big chain around his neck. He has like big earrings. His pants are sagging. He's wearing baggy clothes. He comes in, and I'm like, oh gosh, like this one's gonna be trouble. I gotta watch him. But he ended up being the sweetest student I probably have ever had. He was so studious. He was so hardworking. It totally shattered my expectations, and it was a big lesson for me not to judge people, our books by their covers, right? Not to judge people, and their interactions, right? Our kids don't come to our churches to be judged, right? They come to our churches so they would receive positive interactions, and that, to see that they're valued, that they're noticed. Adults have to be kind and friendly and encouraging and polite. I put polite there, like, some people might think, well, that's a little too much. But again, part of our culture, right? We don't like being fake or whatever, and that's changing. But у меня личный пример именно на эту тему. Я родилась в неверующей семье, я выросла в неверующей семье. У меня, моя семья только 2 детей, моему мужу 16, мы очень с разных миров сошлись вместе. Я пришла в церковь, мне было 12 лет, у меня были двоюродные сестры, которые меня приводили на собрания, которые приводили меня на молодежную. Мне было где-то 13 лет в то время, я очень так горела для Бога, читала Слово Божье, мне очень хотелось его познать. И это было вообще вот как будто я на другой планете очутилась, до того это было мне все чуждо и все было непонятно. И как-то меня вылавливает один мужчина, ему тогда было лет 60, наверное, он дедушка уже был, и он так палец мне так поставил, заплети свои волосы, ты выглядишь как блудница. Мне была девочка, мне было 13 лет, и сними свои серьги, и начал мне просто отчитывать. Тогда мне было непонятно ничего. Сейчас, конечно, я понимаю, что this person missed out on being a mentor to me, right? There's so many things he could have said to me, so many other things, right? Like, how are you doing? Do you have any questions about the Bible? Do you have any questions about church? Like, what can we help you with? Like, how's how's mom, how's dad? Like, so many other topics than the way I looked. Я его не послушала, как вы видите, до сих пор не умею себя заплетать красиво. Но вот прошло уже столько лет, мне этот до сих пор пример остался в том, что so many missed opportunities in our churches of our adults of being intentional about interacting with their youth. Some adults take it a little further, like you guys, and they choose to dedicate their free time, the time that no one has, right, to ministries that cater to children and teens. And you guys work so hard to focus on the individual and not on as well as the whole group. When you were born, when they were born, right? People said, "Oh, miracle, right? This child is born." Like, and statistically, you are a miracle, right? Like, there's nobody like you that was before you. There'll be nobody like you after you, right? You and I are a miracle. The kids we serve are miracles as well, and we have to treat them like they are the miracle. No matter how well they behave, no matter how much trouble they give you, no matter how hard it is to work with them. So a little bit on the application side. So first of all, what does it take to be a mentor, right? I put down the definition again, and I also put down some quality. I started thinking about it, and then I'm like, well, why don't I just not think so hard? And as you guys might recognize these adjectives, what do they define?
Love.
They define love, right? Straight out of Corinthians 13:1. It takes a lot of love to work with kids, like a lot of love. Like they'll test your boundaries, right? And it always comes back to love. Yeah, so many things. And you don't have to be a perfect human to be a mentor. But you have to, a mentor is one that strives to have the perfect Christ-like love. And the big one is that you have, right, you have the love and you also are investing your time. What does it take to be a mentor? I mean, first of all, like I said, having a clear intention. Like, what is it? Why do you want to do this job? Right? You're educating yourself. You're praying for wisdom. You're praying a lot for wisdom. You're establishing your intention. You're teaching. You're mentoring. You're spending your time, and you kind of go back and forth. Right? It's not a linear progression. This could go in a lot of different orders. So to focus on certain ages, if we start with ages 5 to 8, this is the age where mentorship does not really apply to them too much, right? More of like the caring adults they need in their life. This is the time when they think their parents know everything, right? They're so cool. They're so knowledgeable. They tell you they love you a million times a day. It's super sweet. I absolutely love this age. But they're very sensitive to criticism. So, and they don't need the church to parent them. They don't need the church to discipline them. That's still the parents' job to do it. They need church to provide kind and caring demeanor and keep a positive tone with this group. They are building relationship with children, right? This is the age they start playing alongside and they're making the little friends. And again, more of like a really important time where they need more caring adults in their life than mentors. Ages 9 to 12, they start to have a little more freedom, a little more say in what they want to do and how they want to spend their time. So they want people to listen to their ideas and their projects. They want their parents to listen to things they want to do with their extra time and things they don't want to do with their extra time. The adult leader can build their trust with them by encouraging them and by listening to them. They're very active at this age. They really enjoy competition, but they might need our help to like settle their disputes. And a lot of things are unfair at this age, and it is our job to help them figure out that part of it. They are ready to listen, they're ready to express themselves, and they really desire adult feedback and approval. In terms of mentorship, this is where we really get into this age of kids. They start to kind of separate themselves from their parents. Anybody has kids this age? Fun, so fun. It is fun. I'm not being like sarcastic, but also it's so much work. They are very consumed with their social life, right? So their parents are not people who know everything anymore. Their friends are very important to them at this age. Spending time with them is prioritized over spending time with parents, which is normal for this age. They are expressing interests in the opposite sex at this age. They're very sensitive to comparisons, and they're very they know how they compare themselves to how their peers are developing as well, and they don't want you to do it for them, right? They don't like when they're being criticized at all. They are looking for role models. If you are the caring adult in their lives, Listen more than talk. Use verbal, not verbal cues to encourage the conversation and self-expression. Help them to recognize the difference between an argument and a debate, right? Everything is an argument at this age. Everything needs to be questioned, right? But we can help them debate and not argue. We can teach them how to do that. And of course, giving them opportunities for group projects to build their skills that would allow their friendships to grow. I love this age. At this age, they are becoming a lot more independent as they start to drive. They also want to be kind of like adults. They want to be assistants to adults, right? And we see that with youth helping us out at youth camps and at kids camps, right? They want to be part of the planning and preparation, right? They want to act as tutors. They want to have their own little mentees, right, running around and like saying, this one boy. My kids were playing soccer at the school, and he's like, "I love you, Nick." I'm like, "No, don't say that. Like, don't say that out loud. You can think it maybe, but not." And it makes them feel good when they have little kids looking up to them. They are seeking mentors. They are seeking people that could give them another maybe, or could validate what their parents told them to do, or could give them some kind of an advice. They really respond to being respected and being heard. They are looking for like authentic interactions as well. And if you work with this age group, that you know that they are willing like to listen to you, like that they'll seek you out for advice, and it's awesome if you are one of these people that they come to. Who was here last night? Yeah, a lot of you. So Alex gave a wonderful story about Isaac Newton, and he talked about a mentor that he had in his life, right, that literally made him or played a big role in who he ended up being. This is a very famous quote. Maybe you guys have heard it before, right? But he said something like, "I have seen further by standing on the shoulders of giants." I'm sure you guys had giants in your life. Maybe you are that giant to someone right now, right? And how much more of an advantage do you have by standing this high up, right, than people who are on the ground level? It is true. Our kids need you. They need these giants who would help them rise up and help them become better. When I first became a teacher, when I was studying to be a teacher, I was a little nerdy at school. I liked reading, I liked language, so I thought, oh, become a teacher, I'll be able to teach these kids all these things, and I am teaching them. But very soon I found out that my teaching is a huge missionary field. Being a public school teacher, I cannot talk to them about Jesus. I cannot impose my religion on them, just like a Muslim teacher cannot impose her religion on my kids. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to show them a lot of Jesus. I'm trying to show them his qualities, right? I'm trying to show them that love is kind, right? That there is so much good in this world. I'm trying to love them like Jesus loved them, and hopefully sowing these seeds of good in their hearts. And being a teacher for so long, various kids would come to me with various questions and problems, and because of the relationship that I was able to have with them. For example, there's a boy in this picture who is Slavic, who came to me and who said that he wanted to kill himself, that he doesn't want to live anymore, he doesn't see a point in living. Я, конечно, была шокирована этим, когда он мне сказал, и была очень сильно растеряна, очень. Я даже Сначала я не знала, как и что обратиться, и как ему помочь. Но со временем мы с ним работали, counselor с ним работали, он закончил школу, и у него было все было хорошо. But I was so grateful that he was able to come to me, in who he saw a trusted adult, that he could share this, because it's really hard for people that are struggling with depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts to come out and say it just like this. But the trouble with mentorship is that it's about time, right? And who has time right now? Nobody. However, we can make time, right? If we really wanted to, we can make time. I took this picture. Somehow we ended up being a big soccer family. I don't know how that happened. My daughter played club. My boys played club. They're playing for their high schools and their middle schools, and this picture I just took a couple of games ago. I have in the middle here their former coach from last year. So my kids go to important Christian schools, and for many years they haven't won anything in the boys soccer. And this young teacher slash coach, he took them to championship, and they won championship in their conference. Huge deal for a little school. Not a big deal for the state, huge deal for a little school. He moved on to a different school. He moved on to be a teacher at a different place. But a couple of weeks ago, he came to watch my kids play, and other kids, his former team play. And I just happened to sit behind him, and I tried not to eavesdrop, but it wasn't very possible. But soccer games are long, they're like 90 minutes or something like that. For the whole time he was there, all he was doing was just like chatting with these kids. Like he was talking about everything, like he was shaking up and like nobody asked him to do this, nobody's paying him to do this, right? They talked about so many different topics. They talked about soccer, they talked about individual players, people, him, them. And I looked at him, and Christian schools, you already don't get paid a lot of money. But he's investing, right, his time. Like in my eyes, he's wealthy, that he's able to dedicate the time to come back and to continue to mentor kids who he no longer has such a close relationship with. Mentoring, right, takes time, as I said. Greg Bell came to our teachers' big meeting that happens with all the districts in the beginning of school. He's a Portlander. He wrote a book called Water the Bamboo. This is a direct quote from his book. Someone can read this for us.
If you water giant timber bamboo in the first year, nothing happens. The second year, nothing happens. In the third year, nothing happens. But when you water bamboo in the fourth year, it will rocket up at an astonishing 90 feet in only 60 days.
Obviously, he's not writing about bamboo, right? He's reading about potentials, individuals, mentorship, investing your time into people. And the fruits of our labor are sometimes we'll never even see them, right? The kids will move on. But, and they will not happen very fast. Working with kids, working with teens, we need to have this understanding going into this work that we're willing to put in a lot of time to see any kind of results. But who has the time? I really got annoyed with myself the other day. Someone would call me and I'm like, yeah, I'm so busy. Like, the word that I would say like over and over is like, I'm so busy. It's such a boring word. Like nobody wants to hear you're busy, right? It's so boring. Everybody's busy. And maybe you don't have the time to mentor several people at the same time or mentor anyone, but you can always be that caring adult who just goes just an extra step to make those connections with the kids and have the interactions be positive in our churches. Like we don't need to have teens live in our church, youth live in our church, because they came and people judged them. They came and people said, go change your clothes or go cut your hair. Like we don't need to lose any more youth because they were not welcomed in our churches, right? But we can always greet them, right? I love talking to adults. I spend so much time with kids. Like every time I see an adult, like in church, I just want to talk to the adults. Like I don't want to talk to kids. But making an effort to greet kids, to acknowledge them, to see them, after church, to see them in various places. Just like take a couple of minutes to check in with them. Like what's new? How's their puppy? What about? Did you get a job? Like what's up with that? Like what's happening? You went on a trip a couple of days ago, not a couple of days ago, when was it? A couple of weeks ago or months now? Time. My son came after church and he's like, Mom, how does he know that we went on a trip? Like how does my youth leader knows he went on a trip? I'm like, maybe he's my friend on the social media account, maybe that's how he knows, but he saw it that we went and he checked in with him and I appreciated that. If you want to dedicate a little bit more time, right, for a little bit more personal interaction, maybe take them out for coffee, just maintain a professional relationship. You are not their buddy, right? You are their mentor. Make sure it's a public area and you're mentoring someone from the same gender as you. And if they're under age 18, ask parents for permission. Meeting up for coffee with youth and with teens one-on-one, of course, happens after the relationship has been established, could be really powerful, just dedicating their time to listen to them. Always be encouraging and inviting. Don't judge. The truth is that if our kids don't 100% know that you're coming from a place of care and love, they're not going to listen to you, especially teenagers. They're going to shrug it off. They have to know that you are doing this from a place of that you have really good хорошее намерение для них. So establish that before correcting them, and make sure you use a Bible for reference if you are correcting them in something, and not any kind of cultural or like some personal expectations for them. It always should be the Bible, right, if they are doing something wrong. Мне очень нравится этот стих. Я даже могла бы заменить ради этой презентации. Вы, наверное, слышали миллион раз в своих церквях. Я даже когда-то в давнем прошлом рассказывала его. Но мы можем рассказать нашим детям об Иисусе, мы можем показать им Иисуса. Нам не нужно, да, говорить им угрозы, адом их там наполнять, их сердца. Мы можем рассказать то, что помним, то, что мы переживали в своей жизни. Мы можем также рассказать ему, чтобы они действительно его запомнили лицом. Да? Мы должны им рассказать, как тут написано, расскажите. Они и так устали. Я понимаю, дети, что там им быть усталыми, им тут все есть. У них сложная жизнь, мы много что не видим. They're battling a lot of things in their personal lives, especially our teens and youth. Да? Расскажите им просто чистыми словами, расскажите, покажите детям Иисуса. И, конечно же, мудрость приходит от Бога. Мы должны постоянно просить об этой мудрости. Иногда мы думаем, мы так много знаем, но приходят такие моменты, и нужно давать такие советы, и не хватает вот мудрости, как правильно ответить. Если у вас появится, или, может, вы сейчас думаете о некоторых детях, которых вы хотели бы немножко больше с ними заниматься, больше внимания им уделить, или вы знаете, что вот что-то вот этого ребенка сейчас дома происходит, пожалуйста, продолжайте за них молиться, молитесь о себе, молитесь о них, чтобы вы увидели все-таки плод своей работе.